Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesdays with Trailblazers, brought to you by telecom, the video podcast where we bring you the latest trends and insights in AI and technology. I'm your host, Adesh, and today we have with us Naama Manova-Twito, co-founder and CEO of marketing.AI. She has over 20 years of experience establishing and executing cross-company strategic processes targeted at building strong global brand positioning. So without further ado, let's welcome Naama. Hey Naama, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Likewise, Naama, we're quite excited to see what wonderful insights you have for us today. Intrigued to actually know about your journey of 20 years, and that's going to be my first question. You've got such a dynamic career at the intersection of people, technology, and leadership, right? So, can you walk us through your journey? What shaped your thinking, and how do you use it in your day-to-day activities?
Sure. So actually, I started out as a marketer, very old school marketing. So 25-ish years ago, telecom industry. So very old school marketing. We used to do RFIs, RFQs, websites were the greatest technology at the time. And marketing was really easy then. It was intuitive. It was about storytelling. There wasn't much competition over eyeballs because digital didn't exist yet. And that as marketing kind of evolved into where we are today, at first, I was really resistant. First of all, because I'm very much a technophobe, and it was hard for me to keep up with all the youngsters that started ruling the market with abbreviations I didn't know, right? CPA, CPM, CPC, and they're like, so I Googled for a good 2 years under the desk just to figure out what people were saying. But marketing just went on to become more and more complicated. And it requires more and more people now because you used to have 4 intricacies of marketing, now you have 40. And with that comes more knowledge, more skill, and you need more people, more agencies, more freelancers. And throughout my journey, and I've worked in agencies, and enterprises, with small, medium businesses. I had my own agency. I've learned one thing. I've seen a lot more companies succeed, even if they had a mediocre product but great marketing, than the ones that had a great product but mediocre marketing. So marketing is extremely important, but unless you have, endless budget, with the evolving of the different marketing channels and bringing in more people and more dependencies, budgets started shrinking after the pandemic. Before pandemic, it was about 12% of your revenue went to marketing. Now it's averaging at around 8. And you need, again, more operational costs just to keep up with TikTok and TikTok Shop and this new AEO world and social media and video and whatever it is. It's become very difficult. So a lot of brands are kind of caught in this vicious cycle where you need great marketing to grow, but you can't afford great marketing until you have grown. And that's where we fit in. So we're really building an AI marketing team that doesn't just do content. Content's really easy, but it helps you think, operate, research, strategize like a marketer would. So that's the kind of the purpose-built models. And then it also helps you with execution. But it's a lot about democratizing marketing knowledge and skills back to the mid-market businesses.
Absolutely. Totally in agreement with you on the perspective that, marketing is really important for companies to grow. Now, you stated about AI, right? So let's start with the shift we're all kind of feeling right now. It's about AI. For some people, it's, the latest buzzwords. For some people, it's, the next gen thing, right? So as AI becomes embedded in daily workflows, how should we redefine the role of human co-workers versus automated copilots?
Well, it's hard. We're in the middle of, or at the beginning actually of a revolution. And like with every revolution, humans they create the technology and invent the technology, and then the technology kind of forces the humans to reinvent themselves. I think that this is a different scale of a revolution because it's hitting everybody. It's not a specific sector, a specific, it's not just in factories or just in management. It's like everybody's affected by it. And it requires us all to rethink, reskill, upskill, and accept it. I mean, we might not all love it, but it's here and it's not going to go anywhere. And it could be devastating to your career, your pathway, or it could be very much of an uplifter. It just really depends on how you build yourself around it. And it's not new. I mean, this technology is new. But if I take it back to marketing, 20 years ago, my team would have consisted a video editor and, and an illustrator specialist just to remove backgrounds. And I had a team. to do things that 5 years ago I started being expected to do on Canva, right? So we're all kind of seeing this expectation for everybody to be able to do more. But AI does that for you on steroids. So now for job seekers, they're expected to be able to do the job of a 5-person team versus the single junior role that they were applying to 3 years ago.
Got it. Got it. And that's a fresh perspective. That's a fresh take on AI. Not heard that before, right? So now, when you shift from co-pilot to co-worker, you need to worry about accountability, right? So does depending on AI, create risks around transparency or trust?
Well, mostly yes. In a lot of AI platforms, the answer is yes. There's a black box, right? There's reasoning done, there's thinking done a little bit, but a lot of it is dependent on the human. The biggest problem that we see, not in our platform, but externally, which made us accept some learnings about how we want to build our platform, is that people will prompt something very usually simple, right? Improve this, help me with my email, et cetera. And that's not a problem because then you like it or you dislike it. But when you start doing more extensive tasks, like students that wanted to do research for them or whatnot, and you don't verify the answers, there's a problem there because these models are trained to answer. They're not necessarily trained to answer correctly. So when we built our own models, the purpose was to do two things. First of all, try to eliminate the hallucination aspect of it. So a lot of grounding to the brand, grounding to your data, grounding to your competitive environment, the market dynamics. So you're very much reducing the external, I need to make it up because I don't know the answer. The second was to teach the model to say, I don't know. If our agents don't have the data, they'll tell you. They'll say, I don't have this data source. You need to plug in your Google ad, for example, for me to give you that information. But also the way we built the reasoning. So it's reasoning through collaboration versus, reverse engineering a task. So when let's say there were other 3 more people on this call, and we were all talking about marketing, and then I'd be starting to talk about cats. Then everybody else would kind of bring me back to the conversation about marketing. So that kind of happens with the reasoning through collaboration that we do. So there's a lot of grounding. That said, I think that AI, if things will start building the way that we're trying to build them, so it's kind of closing the loop on the performance, the impact that your advice or your model's advice just gave, that will increase accountability of the AI. Still, you'll have a human that will need to verify and vet and make sure that things are running smoothly. But for example, if you look at our models, because we plug into your data sources, we can have that accountability where we did the research, we gave you, your social media marketing plan or your ad, this campaign or whatnot. But because with marketing, you don't see the results immediately. It's not like writing code, right? If you write a code, then there's either a working app or not. With marketing, you don't know. So it's not like, okay, here's your perfect campaign. We can guarantee it's perfect. You're going to have to publish it, and we're going to have to start measuring data over time to see if it's actually working or not. But that's the type of accountability we're building. So the data flows back in and the agents can measure if the prediction is getting close to the hints that they're collecting. But there's always going to have to be human judgment in the loop.
Makes perfect sense. Now, I want to actually ask you about hybrid and remote work. Hybrid and remote work have improved flexibility, but also kind of increase the distance, right? So in environments where AI tools often act as intermediaries, how can we rebuild a sense of, let's say, human connection?
Yeah, it's gonna get worse. Honestly, I don't want to be the one to say it, but so for we call hybrid teams what we do, right? So you have a team of partly human, partly non-human team members, and they all work together in the collaborative environment. The reason I'm saying things are gonna get worse is because teams are gonna get smaller. So you're gonna need less people to do the same job. So if you had a team of 10, now it could be a team of 5 collaborating with a team of AI agents or AI coworkers. You're starting to see it in like personal uses of like how people use GPT as a friend, as a therapist or whatnot. It can become addictive. And I think that we don't have a solution for that. I think that everybody's very much caught up in the productivity aspect of things, but we're not yet building the culture around hybrid teams, human, non-human, a coworker that works 24/7, doesn't have a pulse, and can take your job. So I don't think we're so caught up in the technology still, us as humanity, that I don't think that anybody has taken the time to actually build culture around this revolution.
Now, do you think relying too heavily on AI tools risks weakening teamwork? And if it does, what can organizations do to maintain the right balance?
Hopefully, no. Think that if we build it correctly, I mean, and I'm talking about us, the builders, and us, the organizations to adopt it, it's meant to reduce a lot of the grind work. So, a lot of the work that's, repetitive or things that can be done on research and speed up a lot of things will make things very much more efficient. But if I look again into my world, which is marketing, when I started the conversation, I said marketing used to be fun. We used to really enjoy it. We used to build brands and build loyalty and look at our consumers and figure out what makes them tick and how to build relationships with our brands. And then with the digital revolution, everything became, clicks and views and everything minimized, it shrunk into something that's very tiny. And I think that machines will forever do that better, but it will give humans the ability to go back to creativity and building relationships and building brands. So I think that if you remove a lot of the grind work that we were forced to kind of, be taught to do, you'll get humans do what humans do best, which is be creative, think outside of the box, build relationships, everything that this society is missing currently.
Makes perfect sense, and I totally agree with you on your creativity is something that we thrive on, and this actually would enable us to be more creative. Get work done much better is what I believe. Right. So now let's fast forward a bit. Let's get the crystal ball out there and see. What's your prediction about what does a truly human-centric workplace look like in 2030, and what steps should companies start taking now to design that future?
That's a very cynical question for a person who builds AI coworkers. I'll try. So I was actually invited to the Future of Work conference in New York, speaking to HR managers about what this new or current revolution is this new normal is going to look like. And I think that while there's a lot of buzz with, industry leaders making very saddening statements about displacing thousands of employees in their organizations due to AI, that's causing unnecessary panic. I think that what's happening now is a shift that should be properly managed. I think that HR managers need to have a plan on who they upskill, who they replace, how they construct these hybrid teams, and not hybrid in terms of working remotely, hybrid in terms of having a team that's not all human, where the machines start and end, where the humans start and end in that interaction, and especially, again, how to build culture around it. Because it's no longer about, which tools am I using? It's how do I make sure that when I get back from maternity leave, I have a job to get back to? So it's building a very clear understanding of what the next 1, 2, 3 years of the organization is going to be. And rather than fear of displacement, make sure you have the right people on board that want to upskill and be part of this new structure, new organizational structure. And they can do more once they have these AI helpers in place. And also, the ones that are not on board will unfortunately have to be displaced because organizations can't move forward if they're not embracing this. This is a first movers market, and it really does give a chance to the smaller businesses to grow really quickly. So even corporations will have to make these shifts.
Thank you so much, Nama. Lovely insights out there. Particularly the last one. I mean, I understand why it was a cynical question for you, but at the same time, as I said, I'd love to understand your perspective about that. People say AI is ideally coming for your jobs, or you can probably be the best if you actually use AI within your job. What's your perspective on that? What do you suggest is going to happen in the future regarding AI? People being very skeptical about using it for ethics, ethical bias basis, or stuff like that. So what's your perspective, fresh perspective on how AI is it gonna supplement, is it gonna take away your jobs? What's exactly gonna happen according to you?
Yeah. So I think that AI is raising the bar of mediocrity. So you can't be mediocre anymore. You have to be very good. And AI, if you embrace AI, it will help you become very good at what you do. And it will give you that, a head start when you want to get a new job or things like that. Because when I recruit someone, I want to know that they're using AI and they can do the job of 5 people. It is what it is. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. So both statements are true. Some AI is coming for some jobs. New jobs will be created, new roles. People will have to upskill, will have to embrace. And what's now kind of feeling like, panicking in 2 years from now, this will be the norm. But it's definitely raising the bar. So you'll see a lot less juniors being accepted to roles. You're kind of expected to have experience or at least know how to do a lot more complicated things today than you needed to 2 years ago. So it is coming for some roles. New roles will be created, but still, if you embrace it today, then you can become the best. And I think that that's what the message should be. And we're actually collaborating with universities across the U.S. where students are getting their assignments to be done on our platform. So when they leave school, they look for a job, they have the experience of working with a non-human team in creating marketing strategies and execution capabilities, etc.
Perfect. So it's safe to say Naama is a pro AI. She's all out for it, right?
I am pro AI. And also, I don't want to make the mistake that I did when I was younger. When I was younger, I pushed the technology away. I'm just doing old school Facebook. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the whole digital thing. And it nearly cost me my career. So if new technologies are here, try them, embrace them. It can only do you good.
Got it. And love the perspective. Although I understand it was a cynical question for you, but that's precisely why we wanted to understand your perspective on this one, right? So, thank you so much, Nama, for all those wonderful insights, right? And really enjoyed hosting you on our podcast Tuesdays with Trailblazers. And thank you all for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, stay tuned with TechAI for more insights into AI and technology. Till we meet again, signing off, your host, Sidesh.